fifth grade. How's everybody doing today? And welcome back to another remote learning math lesson with Mr. Enzi. So let's get started as I shrink myself into the corner. Today we are going to be doing grade 5, lesson 1.2, area of a rectangle, part 1. And for this activity, you will need Math Journal, pages 5 and 6, as we will take care of them within this video. And your independent work after the video is going to be Homelink 1.2. So remember that you can pause this video at any time to get caught up or to work ahead and then check your answers. So let's get started with our warm-up for today. This takes us back to 4th grade when we had to add fractions that had the same denominator. 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. How many eighths do we have altogether? So this is mental math. We're able to do it in our minds. We don't have to write anything down. For this one, I put a picture off to the side in case you forget from 4th grade. But if I had 1/8 here and 1/8 here and 1/8 here and I combine them, how many eighths do I have? I have 3/8. Awesome job. Remember that our denominator stays the same because that is the size of our pieces. Sometimes students will think the answer is 3/24, but we don't add up our denominators. We only add up our numerator or our top number. Let's try another in our minds. Here we go, some mental math. 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9. How many ninths do I have altogether? Hopefully you said 5/9. And the last one, 2/6 plus 2/6 plus 1/6 equals how many sixths? 5/6. Awesome job. Now that was a quick warm-up, a review from 4th grade, but you're going to see how we're going to need that in today's lesson. So I took a little screenshot of our student reference book where it has the page about the area of a rectangle. And I wanted to snip that in here so that we can just refresh our minds as to what area means. You can find the area of a rectangle by taking the number of squares in each row and multiplying the number of times you repeat each row as you cover the inside of a shape. Imagine sweeping or rolling across the surface of a shape with a row. And they give us a nice little example here. Find the area of the rectangle. There are 5 squares in each row and 3 rows in each rectangle. There are 15 squares, so the area equals 15 square units. Now we've been doing this since 3rd grade. Here we have 3 rows of 5. 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in every column. When we started in 3rd grade, we would go and number every single little square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then as we moved into 4th grade, we realized that all we had to do was take the rows and multiply it by the columns. 3 rows of 5 equals 15. So today we're going to be looking at area of a rectangle again, except you're going to notice that we're going to take it a step further. Here's some really important vocabulary words that we're going to be looking at today. The first one is the length. The length is the number of squares in each row. So going horizontally, we will find our length of a rectangle. The width is the number of rows in the rectangle. So that means that our width is going to be really how many columns that we are going to have. So we have our length and our width. And then the area is the number of squares inside our border. How many squares can we fit? And you may remember from fourth grade that we learned a special equation, a special number model. Area equals length times width, rows times the columns. So let's try to find the area of rectangle A. It says to find the area. Rectangle A. Our width is 4 units. Our length is 9 units. Now, we can do a couple of things with this. I can count every single square. Or I can use the area formula and multiply 4 times 9. Now, you may also remember from our younger grades, if you don't know what 4 times 9 is, I can always split up my 4. And I can have 2 times 9 and then double it. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 9 is 18. And when I double 18 plus 18, I get 36 square units. So it's important to have our label here. It's called square units because I am counting the number of squares that will fit inside the border. So hopefully that refreshes your memory from fourth grade. 4 times 9 equals 36 square units. Let's try another one. This time we have to find the area of rectangle B. Now there's missing boxes here. There's missing squares. I always like to finish making all of the squares. So I'm going to go ahead and finish making these squares here so that I can see how many there are. Your job is to figure out the area of rectangle B. You're going to be placing the answer into the Nearpod screen. All right, hopefully you found out that 5 times 3 equals 15 units squared. I'm going to put that little exponent 2 there. That means squared. 15 units squared. Let's look at another one. Oh, this time it's a little bit different. This takes us into 5th grade math. Rectangle D. 4 units and 3 1/3 units. Here's 1 unit. Here's 2. Here's 3. And this unit here is 1/3. Wow. 1/3. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to finish drawing my squares. So I want to draw those squares and make them nice and neat so that I can see how many squares I have. Now you're going to notice that I have some squares here that are full squares. This is worth 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. These little parts are not worth 1. These little parts are worth 1/3. 1/3. 1/3 and 1/3. Wow. Now I have to figure out how many squares I have in all. Well, full squares, I have 4 times 3. 4 times 3 equals 12. So there are 12 full squares. But now I have to add up my parts. I have 1/3 times 4. And you might remember from 4th grade, 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 4/3. Now, 4/3 is more than one whole. This piece here plus this piece here plus this piece here will equal a whole. 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equals one whole. And then I have 1/3 left over. So 4/3 equals 1 and 1/3. So how many squares do I have in all? Well, I have 12, and then I have 1 and 1/3 of my partial squares put together. So I really have 12 plus 1 more is 13, plus 1/3 more will give me 13 and 1/3. Awesome job. All right, we are going to be heading into our math journal. And today we are going to be working on pages 5 and 6. So you're going to want to make sure you have your math journal opened up in front of you. For our first problem, it's going to ask us to write 2 important facts that you learned about area after reading Student Reference Book, page 221. So I'm going to go ahead and show that page right now, and you can hit the pause button and come up with 2 important facts that you can put for numbers 1 and 2. So here are the journal page that you might be able to think of something that is important for you to go ahead and include. So here are 2 important facts that I included. You may have chosen the same ones, you may have selected some different ones, and that's okay. Area is the number of squares inside a border. To find the area of a rectangle, use area equals length times width. All right, let's take a look at numbers 3 and 4. Your job is to find the area of each rectangle. Don't forget to include a unit. All right, go ahead and hit that pause button and solve numbers 3 and 4. When you're done, press play so that we can check our answers. Let's see how you did. For number 3, my answer is 12 units squared. And I did 4 times 3 equals 12, because that's how we find area. You could also count all of the squares on the inside of the border. For number 4, my answer was 9 units squared. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 full squares. And then each of these partial squares was worth 1/2. I knew that because the length was 4 and then 1/2 more. So 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole. My 8 that I had plus 1 more equals 9 units squared. Awesome job. Let's take a look at number 5. Think about how you found the area of the rectangle in problem 3 and how you found the area of the rectangle in problem 4. What was the same and what was different? Record your thoughts. So let's compare 3 and 4. How did we find the area for both? What was the same and what was different? Go ahead and complete number 5 and write down some of your thoughts. Hit that pause button as you finish it. Here's what I put for number 5. Maybe you put something very similar. Both rectangles are the same because they have a length and a width. I had to count the whole squares in both rectangles. So my whole squares, I wanted to count them first to make sure that I took care of that. Number 4 is different because it does not have only whole squares. 2 parts have an area of 1/2. So the biggest difference with number 4 was that I had parts of a whole there. I didn't have the entire rectangle. All right, we're moving on to Math Journal page number 6 right now. This time, you have some of your squares that are missing. So you're going to have to finish drawing all of those squares using a ruler in order to solve problems 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and find the area of problems 1, 2, and 3. For the number sentence, be sure to use area equals length times width, or you can use addition number sentences. Hit that pause button while you work on those 3 problems. All right, let's check to see how you did. For number 1, the answer is 48 square units. 6 times 8 equals 48. This takes us back to 3rd and 4th grade because we're working with all whole squares. Now, number 2 is a little different. It takes us into that 5th grade mathematics. This time, my answer is 15 square units. And what did I do? Well, I added up 7.5, because that was my first row, and I added up another 7.5, because that was my second row. And when I add up 7.5 plus 7.5, I end up with 15. Okay, and then we came to number 3. Number 3, the answer is 21 1/3 square units. I added up, or I multiplied my whole boxes first. So I looked at multiplying 4 times 5 first. And then 5 rows of 4 gives me 20. And then each one of these little boxes up here are worth 1/3. So this is 1/3. This is 1/3. 1/3. 1/3. So I get 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 equals 1. And then this little piece is an extra 1/3. So my partial squares added up to 1 1/3. So 4 times 5 was 20, plus 1 is 21, and 1/3 more. Awesome job. Now number 4 is a try this problem. That means it's a little bit tricky, but go ahead and see if you can solve this problem. Hit the pause button while you go ahead and figure it out. All right, let's see how you did. So my answer is 18 3/4 square units. So the first thing I did was I looked at my whole squares. 5, 10, 15. 3 times 5 is 15. So I took care of my whole squares first. Now, my second part was to take a look at my parts. and my parts were each worth 3/4. It tells me here. So I have 3/4 plus 3/4, that's 6/4, plus 3/4 is 9/4, plus 3/4 is 12/4. And 12/4 equals 3. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. And then I had 3/4 left over. So I had 3 whole and 3/4. 3 times 5 plus 3 and 3/4 that made up all of my parts combined. And I get 18 and 3/4. Now this is a try this problem. It's not easy. So if you weren't that successful at it, that's okay, because in the upcoming lessons, we are going to get a lot better at solving problems like that. Our final question. Explain the strategy you used to find the area of the rectangle in problem 3. Use words like row, column, square unit, and partial square to help make your thinking clear. You are going to solve this problem in Nearpod. So, take a look at problem number 3 and then create a really good answer, making sure you use those important math words. All right, 5th grade. Your assignment is to complete Homelink 1.2. And you're going to notice that it is involving strategies to find area, and that some of our problems involve fractional sides. So this is just what we practiced today. All right, my 5th grade mathematicians, go ahead and get started on your homework, and we'll see each other real soon. Have a great day.